What's up, man?
Dude, not much. Thanks for jumping on the podcast.
Dude, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I'm really excited to get you on. I mean, I'm just from going to all the like the mastermind events. I just know you're a wealth of knowledge. So if I get a little bit of time with you today, I'm just super excited about it. So yeah, thanks again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. Thanks. That's cool.
And you're also I guess I should get it started, but I was gonna say, yeah, you're not far from me. I'm in Providence, Rhode Island, so I know you're up in like West Springfield area.
Yeah, that's where the clinic is, right in West Springfield. I live in Ludlow. Oh,
no, you're good.
That's where the clinic's in West Springfield. I live in Ludlow, so still western. So yeah, not terribly far at all. I should be down in I'm gonna be down in Providence this weekend
for with Chad.
Yeah, for the Perform Better Summit. Yeah.
Hey, Chad, he knew I was close by too, and he hit me up. He said, "Hey, like, where's a good gym in Providence to go to?" He's like, "I'm not looking for CrossFit because he knows I do a lot of CrossFit." He's like, "I'm looking for just like your standard like meathead style like bodybuilder gym."
Yeah.
And I recommend him to go to Top Strength. So I think he's gonna jump in there. Is
oh yeah, that's that's my boy. That's my boy Steve over there,
bro. Steve's the man. I'm pretty tight with him too. So you should definitely drop in when you're in the area.
Yeah, I will. I've gone down there. I've gone down there and like to his gym when he has some of those events and like set up a table and like we actually pulled clients.
No way.
Yeah,
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he's come up and he's okay with me talking about it, but he's come up and seen us and stuff. So he's like, yeah, I know Steve pretty good.
Dude,
good guy.
Yeah. Oh, dude, wicked nice guy. I had him on the podcast actually relatively recently too. Well, a couple months ago now, but yeah, I've done like some of like their like competitions and stuff down there just for fun. Those guys are massive, but yeah, it's a cool gym.
They're they're all enhanced, right?
Like, yes.
So yes. My buddy Nick Sasente blew his fucking knees out at Steve's gym a year or so ago. He was doing a fight. He was trying to qualify, right? It was the OSG over there, and he was doing a 500-pound shoulder overhead, just a jerk from the blocks, and he went into the dip and popped his patellar tendon on one side and his quad tendon on the other. So at the dip in the video, you just see he go pop, and then he just falls to the ground. Like thank God those dirt blocks were there, or else that could have killed him.
Yeah, seriously. I remember hearing something about that vaguely. That's rough. That really sucks.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, all right, we'll get into it. I'll do my little intro. So I have a bunch of rapid fire questions so this is kind of the way I don't do my podcast normally. And if we go off the rails, that's totally fine. But
yeah.
I typically have I'll do a quick intro. How do you pronounce your last name, by the way?
Saint Onge.
Saint Onge.
Yep.
Cool. So a couple rapid fire questions, and they can be rapid fire, or if you want to like really dive into any of them, that's fine. And then I was kind of thinking about the podcast to go into a little bit of your background, how you got into PT, a little bit about making the switch from and I can't remember if you actually did you work in network PT, or were you always out of network?
No, I did.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I worked in a network clinic where I was seeing a shit ton of patients.
So we can talk about that, like making the switch from in-network to out-of-network. Because I think anytime we can talk about that and people listen, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then just a little bit about like your personal like background with athletics. I know you're in the Marines, right?
Yeah.
So you can talk about that like as little as or as much as you want to, and then like I know you're doing jiu-jitsu and you've done CrossFit, so all that stuff's super interesting to me. So you can dive into that a little bit too. But
I know I saw all that on the thing that you sent over, and I was like, look at him doing homework.
always.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Good.
All right, sweet. We'll get it started. What's going on, guys? Dr. Matt here of the Rhody Strength Podcast. We got another special guest on today who I'm really excited for. We got Roger St. Onge. Did I do that right? St. Onge?
Yeah, St. Onge. That's it.
Love it. All right. He's founder of Move Athletics, which is a PT clinic not far from us over in West Springfield, Massachusetts. Lives in Ludlow and is an absolute savage with PT. Is a genius, and I'm really excited to get him on and pick his brain a little bit. So what's going on, Roger?
What's up, man? Thanks for all those kind words, and thanks for having me on, man. I love coming on and talking about PT, talking about anything really. I just love nerding out.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, like I guess to give a little backstory, we're both part of the same PT group who do out of network style PT, really focused around athletics for most of us, but across the country. So we were connected through that, and a couple of us had podcasts, and we're like, hey, let's chat, let's see where the conversation goes. So yeah, that should be a good time. So typically with these, I like to start off with the rapid fire questions. So first one that I love to talk about because I love coffee so much is what is your favorite coffee shop? And if you're not a coffee drinker, that's fine. We can skip. We can go to the next one.
No, I excuse me. I actually love coffee. I was so high on my caffeine intake for a while. I quit caffeine only for like a couple of weeks, cold turkey. I was like 2,000 milligrams a day. But I don't know. There's a bunch of different coffee shops locally around here. I just went over to a new one in Chicopee called Good Works that I haven't been to. Well, it's not new. It was my first time there the other day. That was a pretty sweet spot. I like that. But in Westfield, there's a sweet little coffee shop, Circuit Coffee. That's probably one of my favorites.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with the area because I went to undergrad at UMass Amherst, which I know is like kind of just like that Western Mass, but I didn't leave Amherst too much, so I kind of know some of the surrounding towns, but just not super well. But if I find myself in the area, I just keep this log of like, okay, where's the good shops around here? So that's good to know. These rapid fire questions are mostly for me, but I hope the listeners get some get some fun out of them. All right, next one we got favorite go-to breakfast. Now this could be like your favorite breakfast spot, like in your area or anywhere, or maybe just like what you wake up like. What's your like? What would you like to have, like, or what do you do have on a normal day?
Yeah, well, so I use the same coach as Chad, so I'll probably hit up Top Strength when I'm in the area too now. But so she's got me eating like what am I at, like 240 grams of protein. So I try to get like 80 grams of protein in, and then I have an activity based like calorie intake. So my carbs vary a lot because protein fat are set. So I try to get something that has like 80 grams of protein and at least 60 grams of carbs. Otherwise, I'm stuffed myself at the end of the day. So recently I've been cooking up either some steak or leftover chicken and just throwing a shit ton of egg whites in there. And then having a couple of pieces of sourdough toast on the side and a bowl of oatmeal.
Nice. That's really cool. 80 grams of protein in breakfast. That's a pretty stacked protein and a stacked amount of protein in your breakfast. That's awesome. That's tough to do.
It is. That's why I just started playing with it. Well, when I first started this, I was like at 210 grams of protein and I could not hit it well to save my life.
Yeah.
I was like drinking multiple protein shakes. I started getting muscle egg, right? Just flavored egg whites and just like pounding, drinking raw flavored egg whites by like the cup, like multiple cups to try to hit it. So it's taken me, probably 5 months to really kind of get in the swing of things and figure out like how to hit this consistently. And now I go over sometimes, which is okay. So I got some flexibility there, but yeah, I have to start with a big breakfast. Otherwise, like in the evening, I'm toast.
You're playing catch up and then it's just a mess. This kind of sidetrack, but do you do meal preps for most of your meals during the day? Do you have like containers or?
Yeah, so we'll just like on Sunday, I have a Traeger, so we just like smoke a bunch of meat. We spend so much money on food because Caitlin, my other half, she actually, in business partner, she actually is using the same coach as well. So we eat like a ton of food. So we'll just throw like a ton of chicken or steak or something on the smoker and just smoke it for a while. And then we'll just mass cook some vegetables. And I kind of weigh it out day by day. I don't get fancy with anything, right? It's like, what do I have? It's like chicken and like a salad with like some form of carb, maybe some potatoes or rice or something. So it's like very, but I don't put it all out every day. I should. I just don't. It'd be way more convenient if I did.
That's cool. And so since you're making this change, have you noticed a big difference?
Oh yeah, dude. Like if I were to show you like my weight graph, it's funny because I also total different story here. Started testosterone replacement therapy, which is how I got linked up with her. Because I was like, as a business owner, as a father, like as a partner, I just wasn't doing well, right? Because I was so focused on business for so long, I let my own health slip. Stress can be real high, as a business owner, and then like my hormones were all jacked up. My testosterone was in the shitter. My free testosterone was like exponentially worse, like disproportionately a lot worse. So I switched up my form of training, really dialed in the diet, and I started some testosterone replacement therapy. And over the last like 6 months, man, it has made a world of difference. Like I feel better, I'm motivated, I'm just like a nicer human being. Testosterone doesn't make you a nice human being, but it does make it so you're not so moody, right? And like
Right.
just grouchy all of the time. If your hormones are in the shit, or like it's not a fun place to be. So it's funny because I'm on like a cut, kind of, so to speak, but my weight started up here and it goes way down and then it comes right back up over the course of 5 months without like really changing anything. It's just like the loss of body fat and then building it back up with the muscle and the type of training and just prioritizing rest and everything. So
That's really cool.
huge
Um,
difference.
the did you so you went through Ali to kind of is Ali is
Yeah.
his coach, because I
Gilbert.
saw
Yeah.
I've been seeing Chad post about her that he's been working and getting great results. And I don't know if it's an algorithm thing, but I was on YouTube the other day. You know how it has like the recommended videos. I
Yeah.
saw her on a huge. I think it might have been like Mark Bell's podcast or somebody's podcast. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh
that's the
yeah. She's
same.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
she's a real deal, man. She's kind
yeah.
of a big deal. She was on Elite FTS the other
That's what
day.
it was. That's what it
Well,
was.
yeah,
Yep.
she's like, she just travels all over, and she speaks at conferences like every weekend. She's going to be at Perform Better this weekend. She's hosting her own conference in November in Austin. So yeah, it's really cool to see. And that's the other thing I like about it too, is that like it's not just my training that I have here. It's like I'm also taking this as an opportunity to really expand my network, because we see a lot of guys that are enhanced, right? And then if they have some cardiovascular issues, like they need a cardiologist to go see, that isn't just going to tell them to stop doing steroids,
Yeah.
right? That is going
Yeah.
to shape them for their choices. Like that's actually going to look at the situation, understand how it all works, and
Right.
help them be healthy despite whatever other choices they're making. So being able to like expand this network of people that are really focused in on what we do as well, like in a whole nother aspect, and like have all of these different providers, that's been huge for me as well.
You know what's crazy about that too is there's been a couple people who have been a little more like open about talking about, TRT and like enhanced, supplements and steroids and stuff like that. But I feel like it's only been like not even 5 years. Like the past
Yeah.
5 years, like when people are actually starting to like talk about it, which is great because the more knowledge that's out there is like you can actually help these people do it correctly and give it to the people who actually need it in the first place instead of just
Yeah.
shunning it completely. Um, so that's really cool. A couple names think of who is it? Derek More Plates More Dates has been like really open about this recently, or just
Yeah.
in general for the past like probably 2 years maybe. There's a couple of the guys who have been talking about it, and it's been cool to see that it's out there and the information is becoming more like accessible to people, which is great.
I think it's huge, right? Because we live in an age where it's like everybody talks about toxic masculinity, but
Mhm.
like the real fact is that like testosterone is dropping, men's health is dropping, and like the actual masculinity of men is is dropping, right?
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's such a stigma around going in like doing things like testosterone replacement therapy, and there's such a misunderstanding of what it is, because like it's not steroids, right? It's literally a hormone replacement, because I'm not making enough of what I should be,
Right,
and like that really affects your moods. Like think about a woman going through menopause,
right.
right? Like it's tough because their hormones are all out of whack. It's the same thing,
Same
right?
thing.
Instead of menopause, like andropause.
Yeah.
And the more people that are open and talk about it, it's like the more men are going to be willing to step up and say like, hey, I've got this problem and let me get it looked at. The problem is that like the traditional medical community doesn't understand it, right? You go to your primary care, they're like, oh, you're within the normal ranges, except for the normal range is like a 350 obese dude that hasn't been able to see his own genitalia without a mirror in the last 10 years, right?
Fair
Like,
enough. Yeah,
so
yeah.
like the normal isn't the optimal. And every generation, every couple of years, like the normal is changing. Like they didn't have a standard of like, this is the normal, and they're holding people to it. As the normal changes, the normal changes. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Um,
So even when I told a couple, like I've gotten shit about it, right?
yeah.
And like I've told people like about like I put in work, right? Like I have not missed my macros a single day
Mm.
since working with Ali. I've not missed a single workout. I've been prioritizing sleep. Like I've been putting in work. And people are like, yeah, well, you're on TRT anyway, so like it doesn't even matter. I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking. You don't even know what I was dealing with, right? Like I had literally like some real personal stuff. I had zero sex drive. right?
Yeah. Yeah.
None. Like,
Yeah.
listen, Caitlin, left her practice in Texas, moved up here, partnered in mine, right? And then it's like, what kind of personal problems do you think that
Yeah.
arises, right? How do you think that makes her? And it's nothing to her. Like, it's
No.
literally just where my like hormone levels and things are at. Much better now, but like still before, it's like even me, like,
Yeah.
is there's something wrong with me? Like,
Right.
what's going on? So I like to talk about it because there's other people that are dealing with it, you know?
Yes, 100%. And to your point too of like, oh, people are just like pointing at like, oh, it's the TRT, it's TRT. And it's like, sure, like, yes, I need my hormones to be balanced, like to be optimal. But like, do you know how many guys I know, out there who are sedentary, who have been prescribed TRT, who like they've been on TT for
Yeah.
years, like they don't look super jacked, like it's
Yeah.
like so
And
yes,
that's the
it's
thing.
one piece of the puzzle. It's just that's
Yeah.
it.
And it's like the reason you see so many people that are jacked on TRT is because they put in the effort, right? Because body fat is it's the most inflammatory tissue, right? So if you want to actually optimize your testosterone, right, and you want to actually be healthy, you have to get your body in that state. Otherwise, it's like putting racing fuel in like a 1986 Corolla. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, like good luck. It's just you're still not going fast.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So that's why we see so many people that are jacked, because like they
Yeah.
find themselves in a situation and they prioritize their health really hard,
Right.
right? And they
Right.
know what it feels like to be there, and they don't want to be there. Like, I can keep taking TRT. If I don't keep up the healthy habits, like, I'm going to end up in a very similar situation because my body's not going to be able to utilize
Right. Right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. And I think Huberman has been another one talking about this a lot. Is that it's good to just know, even if you're not supplementing or you don't need to supplement, it's good to just know where your levels are at. So I've been this year been getting more like blood testing, seeing where it's at. I know he's recommended. There's been a couple of supplements like the Tunga Ali, I think, is one of them.
Mm.
There's a couple of supplements out there that like with supplements in general, like how much does it actually help? But some stuff that potentially has some benefit. And but I'm really more in tune with like, okay, what are my levels at? Like, am I optimized? Let's get some blood testing. But I thought it was funny that I went for my physical, who I love my primary care doctor, but he is the medical model. So I went for my physical, and I've been paying for my own blood testing like every 6 months or so. I'm like, hey, like I'm here, can I get some blood testing? He's like, do you have any issues with this? I'm like, no. He's like, then you don't need it. I'm like, come on. Like, I'm like, I know
You
that's like,
want it.
that's the script, like what he needs to
Yeah.
say, but like, all right, whatever. I'll just keep doing things on my own then, out of network, which we can talk about that in a second too.
Yeah.
Uh, as far as I'm curious about the process, and we can talk about this as little or as much as you want to, like let's say with Ali, for example. So typically with TRT, it's by, I mean, or almost always I would accept is by prescription, right? So
Mhm.
what's the process look like for like someone who's like looking to like I guess probably the first step would be go and find someone who is a physician, or go and find someone. Is there like a company that you would use, or anything you recommend
Yeah.
on that front?
Yeah, so I've tried a couple of different companies. I don't want to name the ones that I don't like,
Yeah,
but
yeah, fair.
I'm on my third company,
Mhm.
and it's Merrick Health. Allie has a partnership with them,
Okay.
uh, but it has been the best experience that I've had. Right, one, I was paying a monthly fee for no reason, and it would take
Mhm.
them forever to get back to me. And it's like every month, it's like I have to pay. It was just paid quarterly, and it would take them a long time to get back to you, and it just didn't make any sense why I was paying so much money for nothing, like literally for nothing.
Yeah.
And then they went around like a backwards way of trying to like increase testosterone, and they did some things that it turns out that everybody that is really deep in the world of testosterone knows are not the best way to go about things. And then the
Mhm.
second company I worked with, they were a little bit more. I didn't actually work with them. I got some testing and had a consult with them.
Mhm.
I didn't even redo the blood test because it was so close. I could still use my other one. So um, I did a consult with them, and it went well. They were a little bit more informative, but then there was like some hard, pushy salesmanship on the backside of it. And
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, you just lost yourself a client. Like, you're not going to be like condescending towards me. And then I was talking to Allie, and she let me know about the company Merrick Health that she works with. And this has been by far like the best experience. Like, they're very They're very well put together.
Mm,
You don't have like a monthly fee that you have to pay. Like you pay $250 per consult with the doc, but legally you only need to do that once a year.
mm,
And they have a health concierge that middleman's between you and the doc to make sure anything that happens, like you don't actually have to pay that fee. I think they make their money from like they use their own pharmacy and they get like
sure.
cut from that or whatever. But I'm not paying them every time that I have a meeting with the health concierge and I have a question,
Yeah.
and it's been great. So they ship everything right to your door. They won't give you a script for outside of it, I don't think,
Yeah.
because that's how they probably make their money.
Right.
But yeah, it's been great. I linked up with them, got some blood testing done. They have their own like lab values that they've developed that they
Mm,
follow as optimization, because they work with actually healthy people, right? So they
right.
know what they want you to be, and it was great to see because they told me the same things that I heard from other companies, of explanations of like the blood work, but then they actually went like 2 to 3 layers deep into the why. There's all the whole hormonal cascade, and I haven't studied that stuff in so long; it's all over my
Yeah.
head, right? But they're like, all right, so this drives this, and this does this, and this is here. So it's like this is low, but this is good, this is good, this is low, here, and they like just put the puzzle pieces together. And when they're talking to me, it makes sense. I forget it, later
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
But I'm like, unless I write it down, I'm like, okay, I can understand that.
Right.
And it makes total sense, the plan of care, and they've been great. So I mean, step one, I would you can reach out to Allie if you wanted to on
Mm,
Instagram. She's got like a sweet deal with them where you get the blood work and you get a free consult up front with the health concierge, whereas normally you have to go right to the doc, and then you can get a feel for them and see if you want to work with them and what the blood work looks like, and then you can go from
mm.
there, or you can just reach out to America Health directly. But I definitely recommend them. I just go to like the local-ish lab core, and they draw my
Yep.
blood and do everything, and it goes from there. There's some people that use a mobile phlebotomist. I don't. I wish I did though. It'd be fun. Just have people come to me.
That's where I go to is LabCorp, but I don't have the other piece of it, which just like you said, like I know my field really well, the PT field, but when it comes to like lab testing and stuff like that, I'll get the results and I'm just like, okay, like I think I'm probably gonna reach out to her because I need that extra step of like, okay, who I need someone to interpret these for me and tell me like, is this optimal for all these levels? Because it's not just as simple as like one number high or low. There's a lot of different factors in there, you know?
Yeah, dude, they gave me, so when you start working with them, they give you a printout that they make for you of like everything that is either, essential to a plan of care, recommended or optional. Like obviously there's like a bunch of shit in there that you could do that you don't have to do. So if you want
Mm,
to, you can. Like I've, taken a couple things from there, like glutathione and like vitamin B injections that are just,
mm.
I don't know. I want to
Try
play
it
with
out.
it. If they
Yeah.
make money, yeah, they make money through that of like, hey, this is an optional thing, or maybe a recommended thing that's in there that they didn't actually recommend. It's just in this printout, but the printout is like this thick of paperwork, and it explains like literally everything. And it's like what the dosage would be, what the cost, how long it is, how long like each thing you buy would last, and like when to use it, what to use it for, what's synergistic, like all of these different things, which is great. What I really love though is like the languaging in like the first couple pages is more like this is not going to really fix your problem, right? Like it's not going to make you all of a sudden this badass person. Like you need to go out there, you need to work hard, you need to expose yourself to cold,
Right.
go sit in a sauna, work hard, lift weights, right? Dig in, start journaling. Like it's just like be a better human, and like this stuff is going to help bring you along.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, these are my people. I love this.
I love that. And kind of you don't have to go into too much detail. Is that kind of the opposite of what the company before was saying? Were they usually more like you said the salesman was pushing? Was it more like scare tactics type stuff, or like was it just like just too in your face?
Yeah, it was like I had the console went well, and then he called me afterwards to try to sell me like some specific protein type stuff. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Is it you want to be a bodybuilder? Are you a bodybuilder? And I was like, no, not really. He's well, let me tell you something. And it's like, you know how this works? No, you don't. So I'm gonna tell you.
Oh,
I was like, yeah,
geez.
man, I don't really want to have this conversation. He was like, I'm doing you a favor right now. I'm gonna
Oh
save you. We're
man.
gonna do this. You need to get this. Listen, man, I'm trying to do something nice for you, and you're telling me no. And I'm like, dude, I'm gonna get off the phone with, and it like went on. Like I stayed on the phone for way too long, just like out of curiosity of how far he was gonna go. And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm done now, so I'm gonna get off the phone. Please don't ever contact me again." And I just
Wow.
hung up. Yeah, because he was like, it was very condescending. Like, I'm
Yes,
better than
yes.
you. I know more than you. I'm trying to do you something nice, and you're spitting in my face. How disrespectful of you. And I was like, yeah, you have some problems.
That's
I'll make sure
wild.
that nobody I know.
Yeah, that's really wild. All right. So I definitely want to get into some PT stuff with you. So what this kind of does flow nicely into the next subject of this whole idea of like kind of the traditional PT or traditional healthcare system versus kind of like the out of network kind of like more athletic base or like concierge style. Like, okay, if I want to really optimize fitness and health, like I kind of have to move outside of that modern like
Yeah.
typical healthcare system. So, but I'll backtrack from that a little bit. I wanted to get a little backstory on it, and again, say as much as you want. This is how will you got into PT to start?
Oh yeah. So I was a knuckleheaded kid. If we go way back, and I was like kicked out of my house when I was 14, and I was living on the streets, and I ended up in the Marine Corps when I was 16 because I needed to get away from Springfield for a while and separate myself from the crowd I was rolling with, right? And then when I was in the Marine Corps, I stumbled on CrossFit. This is like 2006, 2007, like early days there.
What gym was it?
No, it was just on the internet. It
Oh,
was
okay.
2000, it was like 2008, I think. Yeah, no, I just found it on the internet.
Like .com workouts or
Yeah, just CrossFit.com. I learned how to do kipping pull-ups, butterfly kipping pull-ups, because I didn't know real kip, like standard kip was a thing, because it's just what I saw on the internet was
right.
people doing butterfly. And then I was like, oh, I don't know how to do those regular ones. So yeah, I just found it. I have no idea how I found it, but I kind of dabbled in that, and then got big into it. And then I started becoming the body composition NCO, like for my the company that I was in the Marine Corps, and it was my job to get the fat bodies that we called them affectionately, the people that couldn't pass their physical fitness tests or hit height and weight standards to pass. They loved it because it was totally involuntary and on their lunchtime. So when I got out, I was like, shit, I could do this. Actually, I was on my way back from Afghanistan, and I was searching in the area, my area, for when I get home on leave, of like CrossFit gyms, because there were none in the area. And then I saw this dude in the Air Force, one of my best friends now ever, named Heath, opened up a spot. So I sent him an email, and I was like, hey man, I'm coming home on post-deployment leave. Can I work out at your gym for free? Like, specifically. It was like, sure, why not? So then, I went over there, and that was my first time in a CrossFit gym. So then, I got into
what gym was that?
CrossFit Iron Will.
Iron Will, cool.
Where they're closed now, because I owned it for a little while after Heath moved back to Colorado, but I had a poor partnership that didn't work out for him. So I walked away from it, and then he shut the gym down shortly thereafter. Not Heath, the other kid that I partnered with, yeah. But yeah, so I ended up, coaching CrossFit when I got out of the Marine Corps. And then I just noticed that, like, these people were coming in, they're losing an entire body weight, or entire person in body weight, like literally 100 pounds, 150 pounds, some people, like ridiculous amounts of like improvement in their health, right? They get off their diabetes medication, their cholesterol medication, like all of their metabolic diseases would just dissipate. And they'd have knee pain with squatting, or like back pain with running. And they would go out and they'd see a chiropractor or a physical therapist or their medical doctor or surgeon. And they'd be like, CrossFit's bad for you. Stop doing that. I'm like, that is terrible advice, because you are literally like half the person that you used to be, right? And your health is much better. Like, this is not the right way. So I started getting into, just some self-education, movement, mobility, like movement quality, that type of stuff. And I just started helping people like on the side through like personal training type services. And I realized that I was getting better results than the professionals in this area were. Right? So I was like, shit, I guess I should get some credentials and do this. And I thought naively that PTs like actually knew about the body. Turns out that in-network PTs, a lot of them know nothing about the body, and they don't work out, and they're not fit at all. Like, I don't know about you, but in PT school, I got zero education on how to squat, how to deadlift, how to break down a clean and jerk, how to do any of that. We didn't even have like real exercise prescription. Like, there was no strength and conditioning, like, which is crazy to me that our field is based on like breaking down movement and prescribing exercise, and there's literally zero education in it. The only place that I know is my doc Miguel's school that has an elective course that's strength and conditioning for physical therapists, because Miguel created the course as his capstone and implemented it. Like, that's the only, it's crazy, right? So I ended up getting into PT school that way. And then when I got out, I realized that I still have no idea what I'm doing. So I did a residency, and I did 2 fellowships. And then by that time, I was so burnt out because I was not only doing that, like on the other side of the state, which, I mean, Massachusetts is small, right? But it's still a 2-hour drive to get to Woburn and Boston. So I was working, 40, 50, 60 hours in Springfield, driving out there for an extra 10 hours a week, not including commute time, plus 1 weekend a month, plus like grand rounds and journal club, because they couldn't come up with a worse name than journal club. For all that stuff. And I was seeing 30 patients a day. I was working in a clinic where they wanted to book 4 patients on the hour, every therapist. Right. And then we got bought out by another company out of New York, and it just got even worse. Right. So like, then I would have 4 patients, somebody else would have 4 patients, and they would call out, and then suddenly I'd have 8 patients. Right. And people would come in at the wrong time, and then I would have 12 patients like at the same time. That's insane, and probably illegal, but like insane, especially definitely illegal, because they would have Medicare in there at the same time. Like, oh, just move them on the schedule to somewhere else. Like,
what does the record show? We didn't overlap them.
It's absolutely insane. So like, nobody could get better, right? Like, I would just be in there, like, and I was trying to give good care. So I wasn't just, putting people on the bike for 10, 15 minutes for no reason, and putting them on heat and ice pack, like all the things that we know doesn't get them better. People just do that to manage their time to get their notes done. So then I'm taking, 4 hours, 5 hours of notes home, like every day, just making shit up, because I have no idea what I did with anybody at the end of the day. Or, when I finally get the notes done a week later, because there's so many of them on a Sunday. So I woke up one morning and I was like, dude, I can't do this. And I was like, I can't do what? Like, I had to have, like, I seriously like sat there and just had a conversation with myself. Like, what is it that you can't do? And I'm like, is it helping people? Is that not you don't want to do that? Because it's kind of fucked up. Like, your whole job is to help people. Like, nope, that's not it, right? It's like, I just can't do it this way. This doesn't make any sense. Like, especially with, because I was the guy that worked with athletes, the CrossFitters, the Olympic weightlifters, the power lifters. They would come in, and then like, we didn't have anything to use to like, I've been pain with deadlifting 400 pounds. Cool. I have a barbell that I brought in, and I don't have 400 pounds of weights here, or like, they'd come in with back pain, and we get them to a certain point, and then they would just be lost in the mix relatively quickly because there's so many patients. And then it's like, this isn't right. This isn't serving people. So then as soon as I finished my second fellowship, because I got this company to pay for everything, and they didn't make me sign anything saying I was going to stick around, I just quit. I drove to work that morning. That I was having those doubts. I looked up how to write a letter of resignation, like on my drive to work, and pulled it up on the work computer, copy and pasted like my name into it, and turned it in. And then there was like 3 weeks notice. Guess I'm going to figure out how to open a business.
Wow. And that's cool. I'm right there with you as far as like, I worked 2 years in network, and same thing, was just crazy nonstop. Like, it was a zoo. One of the best ways I've been describing it, when people ask me like, oh, how was the in network, I'm like, I worked as a waiter for Olive Garden for a little while, and like, as you can imagine, at Olive Garden, when it's busy, everybody just wants refills of soup, salad, breadsticks. And I'm just like having to run between like 10 different tables, refilling soup, salad, breadsticks. I'm like, that's literally what it felt to work at an network. Like, I was just running around each person like nonstop.
That is like, and I think that is the best way to describe it. That's literally what you're doing. Like, you're not actually, like, you can't sit down and listen to anybody in that situation. Like at Olive Garden, you can't like have a conversation and find about how their day was and like care about them.
No,
you're just like, here you go, I'll be back.
Yeah,
here you go, I'll be back. Like, hey, catch. Like,
literally. So I'm like, I remember that is the same feeling I had, just stressed the entire day. And then at the end of the day, like, shit, now I have to do notes. It's just like,
except for now you got to write notes about it. It really is terrible. And I love when people have gone through this system already, right? Because when they come to us, it's like they already know, right? When somebody hasn't gone through that and they haven't had the experience, they can be skeptical. Like, well, why would I pay for out of network when I could use my insurance? Yeah. Well, you know what? Why would you finance a new car when you could buy a 19, what did I say earlier?
Yeah.
868 like Corolla for $400?
Right.
Why would you do that? Mostly because one's reliable and one's going to get you where you want to go, and one is just going to be a whole bunch of headaches and a whole bunch of hidden costs, right?
Totally.
Like that's really what it comes down to. So the people that have gone through, they've done it, they've tried it, like they get it. They're just like, I don't care. I just want to feel better,
Yeah.
right? And there's a
Though
certain
I was gonna say those end up being some of the best clients too. That they kind of have to go through the network for a little while to realize like this isn't working, and then they come see you afterwards like, okay, this is what I needed.
yeah. Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes people aren't ready. They have to be there, right? The pain of staying where you are has to be worse than the pain of spending money, which is funny because it's just a matter of what you value, right? Like one of my PTs loves sneakers. I will never spend money on sneakers because I don't have that money. It's too expensive. It's not that I don't have the money in my bank account, it's that I'm unwilling to spend it on that thing that I don't value.
Right.
You know, like I spend as we already talked about, I spend a lot of money on my health, right? I invest heavily in my health. I just told my kids that if they, which is funny, I'm excited to see how this plays out. They're 12 and 13. I just told them if they run a mile every day for a year, I'll give them $1,000 at the end of the year. It was my birthday the other day on August 21st. So if they run every day 1 mile, and next year on my birthday, they're going to get $2,000. Well, each they're going to get $1,000. But it's like, it's not hard, right? It's not going to take them a long time. It's just something that is going to encourage them to have healthy habits. And for me, like that's a worthwhile investment. If they can run it, like what is that going to do for their habits, their thought processes, their development as a human, right? Because there's going to be days where it's cold, where it's wet, where they don't want to do it. They're having a bad day, right? But what happens after you get through that hump of exercise? It starts to become, like a meditation of sorts. It's your stress relief. You look forward to it. You suffer kind of when you don't have it, right? So I'm hoping to build that habit in them, but that's because I'm willing to invest like in their health as well, So there's a certain subset of people that they'll never invest in their health, and that's okay, right? Like by me not accepting insurance directly doesn't exclude them from healthcare, right? I don't care when somebody says that they can't afford it, and people can disagree with me on this, but everybody can afford it if they want to, right? One, we've had people like start GoFundMe's, right, to come in legit. But then also the people that say they can't afford it, like look at the things they spend money on, right? Like do you go out to the bar and drop $200 every weekend? Do you go out to eat and spend a bunch of money on fast food, right? Do you get Botox, lip fillers, injections, expensive sneakers, bags you don't need, clothes you don't need? Like people spend money where they want to, right? But when it's like groceries, like nobody wants to spend money on groceries. And like sometimes you have to spend money that you don't want to.
What's nice about the population, like in our setting, like a lot of people who see me are athletes, a lot of people who see you are athletes, is that I guess we get the benefit with most of these people that are coming in and seeking us out already value their health, at least to some degree. So they know that like, okay, like this is going to be a worthwhile investment because my health is important to me. So it's a lot of the time just explaining to them like, okay, this is why this is more valuable than that. And they're like, okay, I'm bought in. I'm good. Let's do it.
Yeah. And I like to tell people too, like it's not that we don't accept insurance, right? Like I'm not the reason that you can't use your insurance. If you have out of network benefits, if your insurance covers it, we will do everything we can to help you get money back. Right?
Totally.
You don't have out of network coverage. That is not us preventing you from using your insurance. That is your insurance not covering it. Right? Again, that's your insurance that's getting in the way. That's not us. We're not saying, hey, no, you can't use it. We'll give you everything you need to get reimbursed if you have it. Right. But then we have people that are like, yeah, sometimes they're like, I just don't want to deal with that. Like it's going to be a huge hassle. So I'm going to just go in network so they can do it. Yeah. Cause that's how much of a pain in the ass it is. Like we have Reimbursify. We have an app that they can use to submit it really easily. And people still are just like, I don't know. Sometimes, but what'll happen when people go to an in-network facility is like, if they haven't gone, I just tell them what to expect. I'm like, hey, have you gone to a network? And they're like, no. I'm like, all right, do you want to know what to expect? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what to expect. This is what you would get here, and this is what to expect there. And I just check in on them. Hey, how's it going? This is exactly what you said it would be. Right. And then like I'm like, hey, how are you feeling? I'm not any better. Weird, because we would expect you to feel much better by now if you were here. And then they're like, okay, I'm coming back. Right. And then it ends up costing them a lot more money and a lot more time because they've gone, for however many visits. Let's say it's 12 visits that they went somewhere for 3 times a week for a month. They spent $50 copay because $50 is cheaper, right? But still $150 a week. So 50 times 12 plus all of the travel time. And this is the thing that people don't think about, right? Is like when you're going to these in-network clinics and you're coming at this high volume, if you go there and it's a 20-minute commute there, 20-minute commute back, and you're there for an hour, that's an hour and 40 minutes. How many times do you have to go to be equivalent to an entire work week? Right.
Yeah.
And then it's like you lost all that of your life. It's like you just went and worked that long for free, pretty much, right? You paid them to not get you better. There's a huge cost to it. And then you get the surprise bills in the middle later on. And then you come see us afterwards and it's cost you a lot more money. When you could have just shortcut the process.
Right.
You can buy nice or you can buy twice.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think that's especially the people who are like extremely they realize that their time is so valuable. Like they see our style of PT, they're like, oh, that's exactly what I need. Like, and especially if they've done the 3 times a week to PT, I have to arrange my schedule, try to figure this out. Oh man, I missed like a couple visits. Now I'm behind, I'm not getting better. They're like, oh, you're with me for an hour. We can actually have an effective session. And then I'll only have to see you maybe it depends on the person, but maybe like if you're seeing 3 times a week somewhere else, maybe just once a week here, like, oh wow, this is way more time efficient. Like I have so many things to do during my week that are worth my time, whether like they're a busy professional or they just want to like do more like fun things in their week. Like oh, this is very worthwhile.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy how much time, like how much progress you can make in one visit when you have an hour. When the therapist, the clinician, the doctor has time to think and be present and like actually help you understand what's going on so you can take care of yourself. It's amazing the results that you can get.
Totally. Yeah, I love it. Let's I'm glad we talked about that. Because I really love to get your perspective on that. But so we'll switch slightly. I want to get a little bit into your background of athletics. I know you've done CrossFit. And I've seen recently you've done more of like the jujitsu.
So I haven't done a ton of jujitsu recently, but I used to do a lot of it. I used to do so I was in the Marine Corps. That's really what got me into fitness. Before that, I like put on like an all gray sweatsuit when I was getting ready for boot camp, ran like a mile and did some bicep curls, felt like Rocky, and I was like terribly out of shape. And I was like, this is fitness. Boy, did I find out that I was wrong there. But yes, then I got into CrossFit, and then I got into Olympic weightlifting, dabbled in powerlifting a little bit. And then all throughout college, I did some wrestling, and well, not for the wrestling team, but like some wrestling, some jiu-jitsu, and Muay Thai, and a little bit of mixed martial arts. That's where I got this ear from, which I like to tell people when they're like, what happened to your ear? I'm like, it's a birth defect. Thanks for asking. And they're like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm just messing
Make them feel bad. Yeah.
So then, and then I haven't done that in a little while. It is something that I want to get back into, though. It's just the time component of it, because he really do that consistently to just not get beat up all the time.
Yeah. That's something I started to like toy around with last year. And I was the same thing. Like if you're in it going like 3-4 times a week, like you're feeling good. But then once you start to go like more sporadically, you're like, damn.
Yeah.
I'm showing up like once a week, every other week, just get beat up pretty bad by all these guys. But that's cool.
Yeah. So now I'm just I'm working with Allie Gilbert, and we're doing a lot of bodybuilding type stuff. But it's great because she really prioritizes like the general physical preparedness aspect of it too. So I've still got conditioning workouts, but I'm just not murdering myself, in the gym like I was doing before, because like really well thought out, good programming.
Yeah, totally. I feel that.
I just need someone to tell me what to do.
Yeah. The accountability from someone else is just like, it takes away your own biases of like, oh yeah, I can do that. Well, maybe that's too much, or maybe push you when you don't want to be pushed at the same time. So that's always good. Speaking on that aspect, what's working for you right now for or what are you liking even for other people like clients, patients on as far as recovery goes? Like maybe like I know you mentioned like ice bath, sauna, any like massage work or are
Oh
you
yeah.
getting PT work like at your own clinic or stuff like that?
I do get PT work when I need it at my own clinic.
Mm.
The problem is having room to get me on the schedule because they're always so they're always so booked, right? But so yeah, I have a cold plunge that I fairly recently got. I was taking cold showers for a long time. Um, Cold plunge I do in the morning really just wake me up. I like it, right? It boosts like the serotonin, dopamine, all that stuff. Starts the day off really well.
Nice.
What do I say that like, hey, when I with the cold plunge, like I feel way more recovered? I wouldn't say so. I think it's a good habit because most of the time I don't want to get in there, and it's just a habit of doing something that's uncomfortable that I don't want to do. And there are like a lot of health benefits that come with it. And then we have a sauna, so I'll go in the sauna. So I try to get the minimum for the cold plunge is 11 minutes a week that you need for the benefits. I think the sauna is like 57 minutes. So I'll get in the cold plunge for 3 minutes a day. And then I try to sit in the sauna for 20 minutes. So that way there, if I miss a couple of days, like it still hits those ranges pretty easily.
That's cool. I haven't heard that. I like that. Sweet. What about any tech that you're liking right now? Do you use like any of the Whoop bands or Apple Watch or anything like that?
Yeah, so I have a problem with these tattoos. This is the only watch, this whatever kind of polar it is that I
No
found
way.
that actually reads through them. So there was like that, yeah, because my tattoos
Huh.
go all the way down. Most people stop like here.
Yeah.
So a lot of these watches, they don't read them. I've had expensive watches, I've had Apple Watches, like the Apple Watch version 2, I think, read through it. And then all these other ones, they just like tell me that I'm dead every once in a while. And there's a hack of putting like these little clear discs on the back of it. I tried that for a while. Didn't really work. I think what it is that it needs red light to get through the dark ink, right? Because it's all very black here, right? It's
Right.
like it's all very black. So most watches have a green light. This one has a green and a red light. I think I'm hypothesizing here, right? But I think that's
Yeah.
what makes it actually read. And then I've got the Aura ring that I
Cool.
don't really use as an activity tracker. I just use it for my sleep.
Yeah, that I like that too. That's cool. All right, so we'll start to finish up here. I do want to just because I'm genuinely curious. We'll keep these short, but I'm gonna go through the last couple rapid fire questions because I want to know what your answers are, and then we'll wrap up with the last few questions here. But what's been one of your favorite recent podcasts?
Oh, I'm listening to Alex Hormozzi's $100 million leads right now.
Love it.
So that's pretty good.
Is that's a auto that's a audible book, right? An audio book.
Yeah, so the launch was just this last weekend. So I ordered the book, but it hasn't come out. Actually, I just got an email right before this that it shipped out. But he recorded it on his podcast. So it's an audiobook on his podcast, The Game. The whole book is on there for free.
Oh wow. Okay, cool. I read the book he did before that.
Yeah.
$100 million, something else, I think.
Offers. Yeah.
Offers. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
This may be a repeat or maybe the same answer, but favorite recent book.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I just started that. So really here's something. I read this book, Untangled. I just finished it not too long ago. And it's to help with parenting teenage daughters, right? It's like the 7 transition of like girls going through their teenage years. And that was super helpful for me as I feel like lost in the sauce with understanding reactions and like how to interact with her in a way that doesn't like just shut down conversations, you know? So there was a lot of good psychology. So anybody with teenage or about to be teenage daughters, read Untangled by Lisa D'Amour, I think is what it is.
I'm gonna send it to my friend. My friend has 2 twin daughters who just turned 16. So I'm gonna send that to him immediately.
Super helpful. Yeah, I think Courtney from the group, Courtney Morris, I think he's the one that turned me on to it.
Cool. We got favorite Instagram accounts. And the way to describe this is it could just be purely entertaining or something you learn from, educational, but something you see on Instagram that you like, you won't scroll past that you'll look at.
I try not to follow too much of that shit, but it hits me like on my explore page and like random things.
Yeah.
Plus people send me things like, I don't know, anything that with dirty humor. I'm all about it, right? Like,
Love it, love it.
yeah.
Guilty pleasure. um, this is actually somewhat relatable because you mentioned it earlier, but favorite shoe.
Oh, I love the Vivo Barefoots. I
Okay.
think those are good. I just
Big,
became a practitioner for them, so now I get discount codes, which is pretty, pretty nice.
I'll definitely send you some business with that because you're the second person, and I've just seen my Instagram ads, so I'm like, okay, how good is a shoe? But you're the second person who says they've worn them, they love them, they recommend them. So
Yeah,
Vivo
I like them.
Barefoot, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm barefoot right now. I'm barefoot all the time, dude. There's actually a period of time where this summer where I didn't wear shoes for like 2 weeks. I had a meeting. I had to go meet with somebody at a coffee shop, and I went to work without shoes. I was like, shit. I went to
Did you
the
go?
coffee shop
Did you
with
go
no
in?
shoes on. Yeah. I was like, sorry, I just don't have shoes.
Forgot.
What a bum.
No shoes allowed, or what's the deal?
Nobody said anything,
Yeah, there you
If you
go.
just go anywhere, just have enough confidence, people don't say anything,
Right, right. Like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize that was a rule here.
Yeah.
All right, so we got and these are kind of just more like the finisher questions here, but anything in store here's I'll read you all three of them. So anything in store for the future that you're excited about, events, maybe the Perform Better summit is coming up. Anything you want to plug? So I guess like move athletics would probably be the big one, or anything else. And then this is my finishing question, which if you don't have an answer for, we can skip it. But if you so what's the major highway that goes through Springfield? Is it 89 or something like that?
91.
Is it 90? Is that Mass Pike? 91?
90 is a mass pike.
Oh, 91. Okay, cool. And that goes up through Vermont, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. All right, so you get a billboard on 91, right in Springfield. So this is a Tim Ferriss question, but you steal the billboard for the day, so you get one quote, mantra, or saying that you can put on the billboard. What would it be?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So,
All right. So, I already forgot the first question.
well, anything coming up, any events that you're excited
Oh,
about?
well, I'm excited because our pelvic floor service line is really growing. We're looking to expand. I mean, we've got, including myself, 5 clinicians right now on staff. We're looking to hire another
Nice.
pelvic floor. We're hoping to be able to expand into our neighbor's location at some point. We're working on that, so that would be pretty exciting. But other than that, I got a ton of conferences coming up. I'm excited for all of them. I got Perform Better. I'm going to Alex conference in November. We got the PT Biz Mastermind event coming up. I'm going to California for Bedros Keuilian. Like I'm pretty busy every weekend throughout the next couple of months.
Well, I'm glad I was able to get on your schedule. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
No, that's
we were able to
awesome.
match up too. Yeah.
And then anything else? I mean, I guess you want to plug like maybe just like the Instagram account or Facebook, or check you guys out.
Check us out on Instagram, just Move Athletics PT. And then there's also Move Pelvic PT, all jammed together. I just put out, if you guys need some pelvic health knowledge, I just put out a ridiculous amount of, we just put out a ridiculous amount of blogs on pelvic health that, like, there's the ultimate guide, and then there just leads to an infinite number of probably not an infinite, but probably like 15 more blogs from there.
Cool. Awesome.
And then, the billboard.
Yes.
I would say that I don't know how to put this in a sentence, but I was like just like a quote. I was on a podcast the other day, and I kind of went on a tangent about like there's no redos, right? Like I think that's the biggest thing. Like I think that's what I put is like there are no redos. Like so that doesn't quite get the message across. But like if there's something that you're not happy about, if there's something that you want to change in your life, if you're in a miserable relationship, if you don't like your job, if there's an opportunity that you've been wanting to take, if there's a business that you've been talking about starting, like every second that you stay in that situation and you don't change your current situation, you're losing that part of your life, right? There are no redos in life. You get one life. It's your job to make sure that you have the outcome that you want, right? Like nobody's coming to save you. You can stay in your current not so terrible situation or terrible situation because it's comfortable, because you know it, right? Or you can get outside of that comfort zone and change your life entirely. But to stay, they'll just stay with the devil that they know, right? Yes. Instead of taking the risk. I think the riskiest thing is staying exactly where you are. So that would be my thing, is act now. There's no redos.
I love that. That's awesome. It's funny. I always ask this question, and even though I send people that outline before, nobody gets that far down, I feel like. And and it's always so profound. I'm like, I hope if somebody asked me that question, I would have as good of an answer as that. But yeah, like this is my 60, maybe like 65th different guests that I've had on the podcast. I just have different guests on. I'm like, damn, everybody's had a really good answer. That's awesome.
So what's your answer? What would be on your book?
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot. So let's see. So we get 90. I'm in Providence. So I got a picture in my head. So we get 95. So the way I ask people in the area, I get the Rob Levine billboard. Do you know Rob Levine? He's the heavy hitter. You hear commercials for him. So he's got a big billboard on 95 right next to the Big Blue Bug. So I'm typically, when I think about like this question, for me anyway, I think about like my local area, like what can I do for my local area, like to make Rhode Island better, and maybe more athletic or more fit. So I think I would just do a hashtag. I think I would just say Rhody strong. And it's short, it's sweet, but I think the meaning behind it would be, okay, let's all a rising tide elevates all ships. Let's all be better as far as business wise, but also I think athletics wise, that we have a lot of potential here, but we just got to put our heads together, whether it's the different gyms getting along, not that they don't, but they could incorporate with each other better. And that's been a big goal of mine with the podcast in general in this area, is connecting different people, different trainers, different gyms. So yeah, that's why I would go with Rhody strong.
Yeah. You started off with like, I want to make my community better, and I instantly felt like a shitty person. I was like,
no. That's just the way that's just the way I envision it. Partially because of the location of where where the billboard is, where I'm picturing it, because it's like the cityscape in the background. But yeah. Cool, awesome. Well, thank you, man. That had a lot of fun. That was good.
Yeah. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I won't end the recording, so I'll talk to you quickly off the air, but I'm gonna shut it down here. So Rhody Strength signing off.